Hello, welcome to part 5 of the King James Code 37 video series. Mitochondrial DNA. We're going to be discussing this as a precursor to the video or two that I'm going to make on the genetic code. It says here in a Wikipedia article, mitochondrial DNA is the DNA located in the mitochondrial. Skip past words that are hard to pronounce. It says these cells that convert chemical energy from food into a form that cells can use. So, we're burning food in our mitochondrial, producing heat. But what I want to point out, it says here in humans, the 16,569 base pairs of mitochondrial DNA code for only 37 genes. Okay, human mitochondrial DNA was the first significant part of the human genome to be sequenced. In most species, including humans, mitochondrial DNA is usually inherited, watch this, solely from the mother. Very important thing to note. However, in exceptional cases, human babies sometimes inherit mitochondrial DNA from both their fathers and their mothers, resulting in this heteroplasmy. I looked at that. You can check it out. I don't think it's a good thing. Okay, here is an image of the mitochondrial DNA. It says here at the bottom, human mitochondrial DNA with the 37 genes on the respective H and L strands. And I want to point out here is that it is circular, round. Some of you may be familiar with that cultic image of the snake eating its tail. Maybe there's a connection there. We'll see. In your King James Bible, the word round in the New Testament 37 times. Also, the word round in the Old Testament occurs in 259 verses of the Old Testament. That's 37 times 7. So that means in the Bible, the word round occurs in 296 verses. That is 37 times 8. Maybe in the near future, I'll show you how you can calculate the number pi in the King James Bible to 5 significant figures. It'll be a video for another day, but it's there. So the Bible tells us that Eve was the mother of all living. And if you remember when we were reading the Wikipedia article, it stated that we get our mitochondrial DNA from our mothers. We inherit it from our mothers. It is interesting that God speaks 37 words to Eve after they eat the fruit. But the Bible only records God speaking 37 words to Eve, period. The first 7 words, what is this that thou hast done? Genesis 3:13, and then later on in verse 16, God states, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So 37 words there. I don't think that's a coincidence. So it also said in the Wikipedia article, it talked about DNA being where our body converts food into energy. So here it says mitochondria is the key to your body's heat production, as most of the ATP creation and fuel oxidation occurs in these little powerhouses. Okay, it's Quora.com. So our body temperature is 98.6 degrees. Alright, so normal body temperature varies by person, age, activity, and time of day. The average normal body temperature is generally accepted as 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 37 degrees Celsius. So get this, the mitochondria contains 37 genes. It's burning food, sugar, whatever, to produce body heat to regulate your temperature at 37 degrees. 98.6 degrees, 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, now Celsius, it used to be called centigrade, but the name was changed to honor some a scientist, and the word cent means 100, because the scale is between the begins when water freezes, 0 degrees, it's ice. 100 degrees, it boils, it vaporizes. And 100 neatly breaks down into 30 plus 70, which further breaks down to 3 times 3 plus 7 plus 7 times 3 plus 7, or basically 10 squared. 3 plus 7 times 7 plus 3. Of course, rule of addition, you can rearrange it, but we could have said 3 plus 7 times 3 plus 7. This is the 3-7 code. Arrange it however you want. But I just want to show you that it's a simplistic pattern of 37 in this temperature scale. And it makes sense because based on water. Water is an important element in the Bible. Enters the scene right away. In fact, the first phrase, of the water and of the waters, those two phrases can be found in 37 verses. Let's get a little bit of English gematria. This is just simple English ordinal. Flame 37 times. Okay, remember this, we're essentially burning sugars in the mitochondrial to produce energy. And in your King James Bible, the word flame or flames, all forms of the word flame. I could have just put a wild card. You could do wild card searches on this. Just put an asterisk at the end of flame, and you would return 37 times. Flame 34, flames 3. Let's go look where this word first occurs. It is Exodus 3:2. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. The phrase, a flame of, 7 times. The word fire, case sensitive, is 548 for a total of 555 times. 37 times 15. This is the number of times also that the word Christ occurs in the King James Bible, 555 times. A little side note here, the Washington Monument is 555 feet tall, which is 6,660 inches, both multiples of 37. The occult, they know the significance of these 3-digit repeating numbers. They've studied the gematria of the Hebrew, the Greek, and of course they're twisting it. This is from the dailymail.co.uk. I believe the article's a couple years old. DNA scientists write Book of Life. Scientists said they had finished writing the, quote, Book of Life, the 3 billion letters of DNA that make up the human genome. The successful completion of the Human Genome Project was announced more than 2 years ahead of schedule. Less than 3 years ago, the publicly funded International Human Genome Consortium produced a working draft of the genome, a feat compared with landing men on the moon. Okay, this DNA thing, it's a big deal. But what I want to point out is that they're calling this, they use the word book in connection with the DNA. This is not a one-off thing. Go do your own research. You'll find that DNA is compared with an alphabet, language, its information, book. And we're going to look at Matthew 1:1. Matthew 1:1. We're going to look at this in detail. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Okay, this is it. I'm going to give you in this video as far as I know, and my knowledge of the code is very limited. I've only scratched the surface of this, but I'm going to give you what to me is the most significant aspect of this King James Bible code. And we're going to start simple. We're just going to walk around Matthew 1:1 looking circumspectly. Now let's start. Okay, the word book occurs in 37 verses of the New Testament. All right, so right out the gate, the first significant word in the verse is connected with the number 37. The word generation occurs 37 times in the New Testament of the King James Bible. Okay, the word generation contains the word gene. Remember the 37 genes in the mitochondrial DNA. All right, so what I want to show here is we're just going to start out looking at single words, and we've done that, and let's just start putting little pieces of this verse together numerically, and we're just going to see what the numbers tell us. So I'm just going to give you facts. Okay, right? The phrase "the book," case sensitive, and the word Jesus, the name Jesus, add up to 999. Okay, 37 times 27. So the 3-digit repeating numbers, I'm not going to factor them out. You should know by now they are multiples of 37. And I really want you to, this is preparation. What I'm doing here is going to be preparation for the next 2 videos. I'm going to really emphasize this aspect of the King James code, because when we go and study the genetic code, you're going to see how profound this is. Okay, now this particular pattern, I realized the phrase "the book," lowercase, case sensitive, is not found in Matthew 1:1, as that phrase is "the book," and the definite article "the" is capitalized. But I pointed this out, the word Christ 555 times. So book, generation, Christ, these words all connected with the number 37. And here we have another repeating digit number, 555. But we're far from finished, because it says the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David. The phrase Jesus Christ, the phrase son of David, when combined, add up to 222, 37 times 6. Okay, the phrase "the Son" occurs in 370 chapters of the Bible. You can see it in the top right, underlined in red. In these slides, I've tried to show where it's at in the King James Pure Bible Search software. And by the way, if you have not downloaded this software and you're not inputting these phrases in and seeing them for yourself, you really should. You're going to be amazed if you do, and go do your own research, look for your own patterns, and you'll see that this King James code is the real deal. Here the phrase "the Son," case sensitive, as you find it in Matthew 21:9, and the phrase "of David" combined for the number 370. Now again, this particular phrase, "the Son," case sensitive, is not found in Matthew 1:1, but the phrase "the Son of David" with the word "son" capitalized occurs in Matthew 21:9. I believe it occurs 3 times in the King James Bible, but it says, "And the multitude went before, and that followed, cried, saying, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest." Okay, the name David occurs 1,011 times in the King James Bible, in 185 verse or chapters, 185, 37 times 5. So 1011 is 337 times 3. Now the number 337 is a star number. It is the 8th star number. And if you recall, David was the 8th son of Jesse. The word son and the phrase of David are found in a total of 1,924 verses, which is 999, 37 times 27, plus 925, which is 37 times 5 squared. Now, I broke this number down like this on purpose. I mean, they're both multiples of 37, therefore 1,924 is a multiple of 37. But I want to point out the number 925 because this number, when we study the genetic code, is going to show up in a real significant way. And it just so happens, using English extended gematria, the phrase Jesus Christ adds up to 925, 3 times 5 squared. Now, if you go looking at English gematria and you check out some websites, you're going to see they're going to use a cipher, sometimes called the Sumerian cipher. Other websites will just call it the regular English gematria. And it's basically they take the English ordinal and they multiply it times 6. And it's, I don't know why you would do that. I mean, every value is going to be a multiple of 6. So it might even artificially create a bunch of 666s. But let's look at this number 925. I'm going to show you where it shows up again. In John 1:1, the Bible says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Okay, now this is just regular English reversed. Now, that just means that Z has a value of 1 and A has a value of 26. Okay, that might seem strange. Well, why would we use reverse cipher? You know, if you've been watching the series of videos, there's just something there of this looking at something from left to right, right to left. You know, 37 and 73 is the reverse of that. You know, 2,701, Genesis 1:1, English gematria, factors out to 3,7 and times 7,3, it just reverses. There's something to that. You know, I don't really understand it all perfectly, but the patterns are there. Back to Matthew 1:1, because we only begun to look at the patterns in this one verse. Right? The phrase son of Abraham. Son of, case sensitive in Abraham, 185, 37 times 5. Okay, so far we saw that book occurs in 37 verses of the New Testament. Generation occurs 37 times in the New Testament. Christ, 555 times in the Bible or New Testament. It's only a New Testament word, 37 times 15. We've seen combinations of the phrase Jesus Christ and Son of David when combined 222 times. So there's this pattern after pattern. Let's go back to English gematria. Okay, simple English ordinal gematria. And we're going to break down Matthew 1:1. The book of the generation of Jesus has a value of 333, which is 37 times 3 times 3. Okay. Continuing on, Christ, the son of David, has a value of 219. 3 times 73. If you recall, 73 is the 21st prime, the 7 plus 7 plus 7 prime number. 37 is the 12th prime, the 4 plus 4 plus 4 prime number. And the other significant number we mentioned in the last video was 47, which is the 15th, the 5 plus 5 plus 5 prime number. So even in their primes, they follow this 3-digit repeating pattern, just in a different form. Let's finish out Matthew 1:1. English Ordinal Gematria. The son of Abraham, 146, 73 times 2. Okay, so we had the book of the generation of Jesus, 333, 37 times 3 times 3. And then we have Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham, totals 365. Yeah, I meant to put that in a slide, but the number 365, the number of days in the solar year, it is also the number of years that Enoch lived. And there's an amazing pattern in Genesis 5 concerning Enoch. I'll make a video about that later. Okay, the phrase the book of 103 times. The phrase the generation of 8 times. 111, 37 times 3. I can't stress this 3-digit repeating number, how important it's going to be in our upcoming study. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ. 333 times. 37 times 3 times 3. Now pay attention to what we're doing here. We're simply breaking up the phrase, the verse, the clause into pieces, and the text is assigning a numerical value for the word or phrase. It's like gematria, but it isn't. For instance, the word the, case sensitive, in the New Testament has a value of 266. The phrase book of has a value of 17. The phrase the generation has a value of 1. I'm not sure how many times the phrase of Jesus Christ occurs. It's cut off. I couldn't fit it on here. But if I took these individual pieces and said arrange them in order, you'd quickly put them in order because it's information. And this information has a value of 333. Okay, so what I want to point out is we're staying in Matthew 1:1, and we're showing that this isn't, I didn't go and cherry pick a pattern in the Old Testament, one out of the New Testament, and say, okay, here, this is the rule, and rather than the exception. No, folks, this is the rule. We could have went to Genesis 1:1 and did the same thing. Here, the book of the generation of Jesus, 1,998, 999 plus 888. You could have said 666 times 3, but the point is it's a multiple of 37, and the 3-digit repeating number. Very important. Okay, here we have the full verse, the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. 222 times, 37 times 6. Again, the phrase the book of has a value of 16. The phrase the generation of has a value of 1. The phrase Jesus Christ has a value of 196. 7 squared times 4. We add them up, we get a repeating digit number. 222. Here, the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Okay, totally different arrangement. Now we have 999. 37 times 3 squared. You can hear my pug snoring in the background. I'm sure it's coming in on the sound. But how I came about this code is I was entering in words using the King James Pure Bible search software, Revelation 13:18. I typed in, not in this order, I was just entering in words of the verse, but basically hath understanding, count, number, beast, boom, 666 popped out, and I was like, what? You know, so that's how I started exploring this code. So here we're going to use the same methodology. We don't have to try to include the thes and the ofs, and we can. I mean, we can really start making large numbers. We can go, you know, the little individual definite articles, ofs and ands, and then the number will grow, and the computer will sit there and think and think and think, and it takes forever. I generally avoid that, but we're going to just pick out the key words here. Book, generation, Jesus, Christ, Son, David, Abraham. Now, son's underlined, that just means it's case sensitive. Okay? And 1,924, which is 37 squared plus 555. All right? And I highlighted, or generation and Christ are in red because there are multiples of 37. So if we were to take the word generation out of the picture, we still have a multiple of 37. If we take Christ out of the picture, or out of the search, we're still going to have a multiple of 37. So what that tells us is the word book, Jesus, Son, David, Abraham also add up to a multiple of 37. Okay, here we have the full verse again, the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham, 1,961. 37 times 53. Again, the full verse, the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Now this search scopes the entire Bible. I think most that we had been showing is the scopes the New Testament. This one's the entire Bible. And 1,999 verses, which is just one number away from a multiple of 37. If you're familiar with the book Theomatics, you ever read that book? The author there, when he's looking for patterns, he actually counts an occurrence if it's within one or two of the number he's looking for. In this case, 1,999 is one away from a multiple of 37. If you see the 480 chapters, that's also one off of 37. So 1,999 plus 480 is a multiple of 37. But I want to point out that look at this arrangement. The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Look how large the phrase is of the generation of Jesus Christ. And look at the number, 4,144. Because we're going to see this number come up again in a totally different arrangement. And here it is. Right? You could see that the total is 4,144 again. A totally different arrangement. To have that number come up twice is very unlikely. You can see that the chapter and verse counts has changed. In fact, I'm going to highlight them here. So both of these arrangements were 4,144, 37 times 112. So the first example had 1,999 verses in 480 chapters. This was the arrangement. The second example, 2,069 verses in 588 chapters. Yet the count, the total number of occurrences, was identical for both cases. Okay, so now let's go back to we're going to look at the second arrangement. Okay, because I've just been showing you, we've seen a pattern of just the New Testament or the entire Bible, but folks, this thing is, the Bible is a volume of books. We can look for patterns within Matthew. We can look for patterns within groups of books, the four Gospels, or the New Testament narratives, the so-called Torah, these the wisdom books. We've only scratched the surface of this, and I'm going to give you an example of this. So here, this arrangement, we're not going to change anything. So 4,144, we're searching the entire Bible right now. So now we're going to narrow that down. We're just going to remove the Old Testament, deselect it. Nothing's changed in our arrangement. And now, even though the occurrences is not a multiple of 37, now we have 222 chapters in the New Testament that these phrases are found in. So we're going to narrow it to the four Gospels. And the total count becomes 592, 37 times 16. Okay, now we're going to remove John and Luke. So now we're just searching Matthew and Mark. Same arrangement. We haven't changed anything. 111 verses, 37 times 3, and 37 chapters. And now we're going to deselect Mark. Now we're just looking in Matthew. And now we have 74 verses, 37 times 2. So in that sequence of patterns, we didn't change the arrangement at all. We didn't hit the case sensitive button. We didn't do nothing. We just left it as it was and just deselected. And you see how many multiples of 37 there were. So now we're just going to look at the case sensitive search of this arrangement in the 4 Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So we changed the search to the 4 Gospels. Now the phrase "the book of," the phrase "the son," and the phrase "the son of" are now case sensitive selected. And now we have the number 333, another repeating digit number. So the next couple of videos are going to be about the genetic code. And I went through, put a lot of work into showing you this pattern, this example, one example in Matthew 1:1 as a precursor to the genetic code we're going to look at, because you're going to see this again. Like I said, God put his signature in the Hebrew Bible. He put his signature in the Greek Bible. And he put his signature in the English King James Bible. Thanks for watching.